Everybody for checking in with us here. SEC Sideline Sports Network and SECU. Whole network we're building. What a night, man. I don't care if you're a Tennessee Vol or a Texas A&M Aggie. You got to be proud. It sucks losing, though. I can tell you that. But what a game. College baseball, this game, this series has been great. I love it. Look at the hat from Hewlett and Dunn that Brendan's wearing. God, he's the man in the black hat. Whoa! That is a badass hat.
I'm a Marlboro man.
I'm not even, I mean, I'm kind of intimidated.
Don't even mess with me today.
Yeah, that is a great looking hat. Here goes the headsets. I love it. Wyoming, it's like the play-by-play guys for Wyoming Cowboy football. Hey, Rob Brown, Brendan Martin, our executive producer here with you. Got a great show today.
Call me
some crazy stuff happened during the night. Vince Ferrara is going to check in with us, hopefully in about 5 minutes. He's part of the Tennessee Vol Radio Network, and he will check in. Yancey Porter, Rebel Yell Hotline checks in, and Brendan and I have got a lot to cover today. There's a lot happening in the college landscape. Look, get pen and paper handy. Smash the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner and subscribe to Rob Brown and Johnny Cash here with you
and
on Sidelines.
Don't line up outside my door because I look so damn good.
Yeah, you look smart with that hat. I love that hat.
I feel smarter. All right,
you are. We'll be.
Sidelines with Rob Brown. Talk sporty to me.
All right. Man, I love it. I love that hat. That is a cool hat. Nobody does a show with an executive producer extraordinaire wearing a hat like that. Hewlett and Dunn Boot and Clothing Company on the historic square in Collierville, Tennessee. That's where Brendan can get. You can all get those hats. HewlettandDunn.com.
Yeah. Check out the hats. It fits great. I've never had a cowboy hat.
Hey,
and they sized it. And it's not like they sent me the wrong size. They sent me a perfect size. It was just a little slightly too small. Then we got that. They took care of it. And then my friend, who I have a lot of friends here with cowboy hats, they said, if it's just slightly too tight, it's just because you got, they called it breaking it or something.
Yeah.
Not breaking it in, but you got to break the back off or something. It's a little leather. Anyway, you just pushed it in. Fits perfect.
Let me just say this. I bet you there's more than a few horse people down there in the state of Florida and cattle people.
Yeah.
And
you walk around here, you see cowboy hats wherever you go.
Yeah. I'll tell you who I need to meet. I want to meet Perry Mason.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why I love the guy. He's a loyal viewer. He's also a farmer. Living in Memphis. Memphis is, if you fly into Memphis, we have a very big, busy airport. Of course, we're the home of FedEx. You will see farmland is everywhere. Memphis is 1.2 million people in the middle of a farm, is what it is. It's the largest small town in America. Hewlett and Dunn, they got over 7,000 pairs of boots, men's and women's. My wife, Audrey, and I were out there again Saturday. Saw Raven was out there. Unbelievable looking women's dresses, blouses, shirts. They've got duck heads, Filson. Those are the Anderson Bean boots. God, they're good looking. Mercedes boots, Lucchese. They've got, I will say this, STS luggage. They've got Old South clothing. They've got Harriet, Wrangler, again, socks. That's the Turtle Box right there. That is a powerful music box. You've never heard music. That thing will float in the water. You've got a seal on it. You click it, and it'll float in the water. You can take it in the Gulf with you or the ocean. Remember, if you're on the Gulf side, I know it's a Yankee if they call it the ocean, down at Orange Beach or Panama City or Destin. I'm not going to the ocean. No, you're going to the Gulf. or going to the water. But Hewlett and Dunn, awesome store. Those are the new hats they've got.
Hey, and by the way, if you go to the beach, just so if you have those rookies who are going to the beach this summer, you got your music and stuff, don't play it too loud. There's other people at the beach.
Yeah. That is true.
I may not like your music.
That is true. How about that? Underneath those hats, a pack of Marlboros.
I was just wondering about that. I was like, are those for sale or?
I tell you, Hewlett and Dunn, Raven, one of the girls that works there, and Charles Hall and his wife Laura own it. Raven's father is the spitting image of the Marlboro man. He's a cow. There are a lot of cowboys in and around Collierville and Germantown out there by Hillier. A lot of rodeo and the roping, and it is big. It's big time. It's big time.
Look, I have my mic with my hat.
Yeah, and those are all the shirts. I'm wearing one today that's got red and blue Mississippi's on it. It's an Ole Miss shirt. I've got a Tennessee one like that. That's Raven right there, showing you those shirts. Raven's cool as hell. Check them out. Look, what I watched last night, I know Vince can shed a lot more light on this, was really it was really powerful. And I'm hoping that college baseball can surpass 3 million viewers in a game in this World Series. Of the 3 games, at least one. I have a steamer pack of crystals bet with Doug Dean and Frank Duffy. I'll pass out crystals like Odell Beckham Jr. was passing out $100 bills on the sidelines when LSU won the national championship in 2019. The difference is they got in trouble, and all of y'all are just going to be doubled up on the floor with a gut ache the next morning, eating a bunch of grenades with shrapnel. That's what I call crystals. How you fight is how you live. Check out Rumble Boxing Gym in Memphis. They got a lot going on right there, and Camp Lee. They are building a brand, and I'm going to tell you what, it's a 45-minute workout, 15 3-minute rounds, 48 people in those classes. It is like swimming on land. I love to swim, and I love Rumble Boxing. Brendan, last night, do you think nerves got to Tennessee? We'll ask this more to Vince in a minute, but when they got up 6-1, yeah, I think Tennessee got a little bit like, hey, man, we're already into shore, and they forgot they had to swim the last half mile to shore at night in the Gulf when all the sharks are feeding closer to shore. That was a scary ending. Casey Goodjohn watching out in Claiborne County, Texas. Love this guy. He's going to come see you and me, Brendan, when we're out there at the Omni in Dallas. He's a 20-year Marine. I think he's up in Colorado right now. When he goes to they go to Colorado, Aggie for life. He said, I didn't used to pay that much attention to Aggie baseball, but I think after this, yeah.
What happened to Tennessee? Tennessee does best as a whole.
Yeah. Well,
I just it's hard to get excited for them because they just seem to not be able to show. I mean, they're great every year. They're stacked every year. Every year I hear about Tennessee. I hear about football and baseball every year. Tennessee, not every year, last couple of years especially, and it's just it's one of those things in a program. Sometimes it's like it's like with Florida. If I hear you're this far away from being great, then Tennessee hears that too. Listen, Vol fan is tired of hearing it because every year they're in that conversation, and now you're not. You're losing short. I don't know. I think this hurts a little bit because I think they need a win in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Well, I saw. Tony Vitello is a lightning rod, but his players love him. What matters is what do his players think about him. Fans of other schools may not like him. They don't like Nick Saban. They don't like Kirby Smart.
Do you ever think that about that Nick Saban, though? That I think Nick was smart enough to know that he had to come up with a persona, and that persona was that he was smart. That I'm going to take the tough old coach that doesn't don't mess with me, don't whatever. But it's like the tough old dad that but when he needs to love on you a little bit, he's going to pull the one in and get you to do what you want. I think that was part of just who he was, and he created that to have control.
I agree with that. And I think silence, there's a lot of people who are not real loud and they don't talk a lot, but their silence speaks for them.
Yeah.
Nick Saban one time said, am I a great coach? I don't know. He goes, I'm great at coaching great players.
Yeah.
But I think you have to be a great coach to be able to take. And who was it on the show last week that said, I think it was Tyler Siskey. who was on the show Friday with us, who's coached with Hugh Freeze and Nick Saban, been in there. He said, these are selfish guys. I mean, these 4 and 5 stars. It's all about them, and you can take them and get them to play for the overall good of the team and one another. That right there is a great skill, and not everybody can do that.
Well, and because it's the two things Buddy Martin, Dad always talked about it. He was, I don't think he's going to do it anymore. I think him and a certain head ball coach once talked about doing a book about how to be a teammate. And to talk about how to be a teammate. And that just kind of gives you a little bit of insight. I know we talk a lot about coaching. It gives you a little bit of insight of like Steve Spurrier is.
Yeah.
Is that he thought about those things, right? Because he taught those things that they don't do. So how to be a teammate, how to be a son, right? How to be a student, right? How to be a good person. Like these are the things that, that used to get taught before all this money, right? That's the stuff that the coaches felt like that was their responsibility. So now we introduced this money thing, right?
Yeah.
And now coaches feel less of that responsibility. Now coaches, there's something that money does to situations sometimes where it's like, well, it's equalizing now. You're getting paid, I'm getting paid. Now I can just, I don't have to worry about your future. You're making your own money now. So therefore, I'm not going to worry about instilling that in you as a coach. In fact, I may not like you next week and we might have to send you down the road in the transfer portal. So you just don't know anymore. So we're mimicking our society as a disposable society, as a throwaway society, in a lot of ways. It's the instant gratification deal, because that's survival now in a situation like the college football landscape or college sports, NCAA sports landscape.
Well, there's a lot of truth in what you said. And where you look at a guy like Colby Connell, Tennessee's pitcher, and again, Vince is doing a podcast right after his show, and he's going to jump on. But he appeared in 36 games this year for Tennessee. Last night was his 9th consecutive game. He doesn't have to throw a lot, but he came in there for 2 innings?
Yeah.
And his strikes, keeping that slider just on the edge. And I'm not the smartest baseball guy out there, but that is critical. That's like the pilot. Again, when you lose one of your engines, we've got 3 more, you don't miss a beat. Because the alternative is you panic. And if you panic, nothing good's going to come out of that.
Well,
that was a fun ending. It was crazy for the fans. Again, Brenda, when do you think the TV ratings, the numbers will be available?
They're usually available day after what they did, and the number, maybe it's 2 days after. I don't know, but they'll be available pretty quick. Probably tomorrow, I think.
Okay,
but we'll see that number. In fact, they may release it today. It just depends. But I know that number is going to be big.
It's got to be because, well, baseball, Brendan, you've done TV. Which is the easiest one to produce that's most appealing to fans? Football, basketball, or baseball? We know hockey is extremely difficult.
Yeah. Which one's the most difficult to produce?
Yeah.
I mean, the things that you would think. Golf, and here's Vince. Golf's real tough, just because you have to lay out so much lines, and actually, Winter X game.
Okay. Like Vince Ferrara, thank you so much. Had an emergency last night about 1:15 your time. Chris Lee, Southeastern 14, had a family emergency come up, needed to reschedule, and I'm like, of course. And I knew you would be up out on the strip carrying the dugout on your shoulders with all the Tennessee fans. My wife Audrey was she was so pumped up. Mark Ham, Will Ham, Kurt Ham, Tom Rainey, Ed Kaiser, Jim Nafee. I got so many Tennessee friends. It's nuts. But, man, Vince, here's the ball. Take it and run with it. But, man, what a – I know we don't have a lot of time, but you're going to be back on with us tomorrow. But you and John Wilkerson, y'all need to be in that parade when they celebrate the national championship up in Knoxville.
Yeah, that'll be later on today. So John will be – John will – yeah, they didn't waste any time, did they?
No.
Wow.
They get back mid-afternoon, and then 6:15 down Gay Street to Wall Avenue, and then 6:45 on Market Square for those that are familiar with that. Downtown, it's a great area. And then, it's all free and should be lots and lots of fans in the orange and white out there. So we'll be cool. DJ Sterl the Pearl, Sterling Hinton, former Tennessee quarterback. It's a great DJ. He'll be out there. Danny White, Tony Vitello, player. So, all of it will be a lot of fun. So that'll be later on today. And yeah, it's crazy. We had national championship first reaction show was John and I who call the games, and John didn't get any sleep last night, as you can imagine, but
yeah.
He had an unbelievable call as usual. He never misses the moment for, to summarize and express the energy, the enthusiasm, the passion for Tennessee fans that has helped, that has made the fans connect with him like no other. Yeah. Tony Vitello could run for governor of the state, but his running mate should be John Wilkerson. He's that popular.
I listened to the Vol Network broadcast last night, and it was ahead of the TV. And I couldn't do this to Audrey, but by the way, Dr. David Arnoff, Panama City, I love him. Synchronized swimming, that's the most difficult thing to produce on TV. Also says, my Tennessee buddies were happy, but they'd still rather beat Alabama in football. Go Vols. But here's what I got to ask you. I listened to it, so it was a little bit ahead the Vol Network. There wasn't any drama or tension or your stomach just in knots there in the last couple of innings, were there? Did you expect anything less? I mean, it was incredible.
No, Rob, we talked about it on the show this morning. In my opinion, it's a fitting end to this Tennessee baseball season because it hasn't always been easy. It hasn't been smooth sailing. But even though they'd have rough patches here and there, they were clutch and they'd figure it out. And you couldn't beat them back to back. Only Alabama did that at the very beginning of SEC play. So it's resiliency, it's toughness. They come together. In game 2, 2 0-for-16 streaks were snapped. Tennessee in game 2 was 0-for-16 with runners on base before Dylan Dreiling hit that 2-run homer to put them on top. And then Cal Stark was 0-for-16 in the College World Series when he hit his 2-run homer that gave him those insurance runs to make it 4-1 in the 8th inning. Dreiling was amazing in this postseason. He's only a sophomore, but he's draft eligible sophomore. So Tennessee's going to lose a lot of their everyday lineup. Probably Hunter Ensley will come back. Dean Curley, the freshman, he's sophomore eligible for the draft, so they'll get one more year of Curley. But pretty much everybody else in the starting lineup in the field will be not only moving on, but they'll be drafted fairly high, including a couple of first rounders. So it'll be a new team, but that hasn't stopped them from bouncing back and developing new guys, and the next guys step up. Players get developed at the University of Tennessee, and then also they don't get crushed by the draft. That'll be something to look for upcoming as well. But so many hands had a part in this championship.
Tell me this, Colby Connell, that was his 9th consecutive game he appeared in. He also appeared throughout the season for a total of 36 times. I can't remember a pitcher. I know he's not going a full game. Talk about his role, and is he a good double, a stunt double for Travis Tritt? I love the guy.
Roll Raleigh fingers too because of the handlebar mustache. They call him volley fingers.
Oh my god!
Oh, yeah, God. You think he might sell some T-shirts with that?
It's already happened. But he's had different roles. Sometimes they'll go 3-4 innings. Other times it's just a batter or it's situational. It was all hands on deck. So they passed it along and went. I was a little surprised that they went to Loy, the freshman, before Kirby Connell. But Loy was lights out his last time out there. So Connell was clutch in getting those final 2 outs. And then Aaron Combs, who was great in game 2, came back and ended up striking out the side, gave up a couple of runs, a couple of hits, a couple of wild pitches, a balk. But even after his balk, he smiled. He's like, whatever, I'm going to get this next guy out.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys contributed, but Connell is a very special guy, and he has a great bond with Xander Sechrest. How about Xander Sechrest in his last 6 starts for Tennessee? All of them high leverage starts, closing out the regular season against South Carolina to clinch the regular season title, and then the SEC tournament, regional, super regional, College World Series. Last 6 starts, 34 and a third innings, 5-0 record.
Wow.
6 walks, 28 strikeouts for a kid that even up until midway through this year was the midweek starter his entire career until this year, put it together and had been Tennessee's best pitcher. And they needed with those bullpen arms kind of, getting towards, running out of gas. They needed that 5+ innings from Xander Sechrest to start.
Well, I tell you what size shirt are you? I've got one of these Hewlett and Dunn Acres down south. They sell these great polos. They've got 4 Tennessee ones, 2 for Smokey the Hound, 2 different ones. One of the orange and white, overalls, and the other one is the state of Tennessee. It's a black shirt with the orange. I was wearing that last night during the game. But
and they got these hats too.
Yeah, they got those hats too. What size are you? XL? You're a big muscle bound guy.
Yeah,
XL?
I'll send you the sizes. I'll text you, Rob.
But can you be back on tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Eastern?
Yeah, you got me. I'll work to see if we can get John on for you. I don't know what his commitments are after the show, but we'll work on trying to get John on with us too.
Look, great stuff as always. I had the Sports Animal app, though. It was so cool. I listened to the whole thing till my phone died, and then I put it on the charger. By the time it recharged, they'd finished it. But just listening on the radio, John Wilkerson and you together are awesome. And last night he was solo. He's got that booming voice, and your color commentary. That's why you do a lot of TV. I know you do some stuff with SEC Network. By the way, you going to SEC Media Days in Dallas?
I am. Yep. We're solidifying
Okay.
plans, so I will be there. So look forward to seeing you guys there.
All right, look, send me your size. I'm getting you a shirt. That's what you get on this show when you win a national championship. And so I'll see you tomorrow. Okay.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you so much. All right. I love that guy coming on spur of the moment. I imagine he was up late last night, and he does a show
today. He'll be busy today.
I know he does a show in the morning right before we come on. It's 5 to 8 Central or 6 to 9 Eastern. And then he did that this morning. And then he did a podcast, and then he comes on. SEC Media Days, Dr. Arnoff in Panama City, Bay County, are July 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. Brendan and I will be out there. We're going to be pals. We're going to be bunkmates, amigos. We're going to have so much damn fun out there.
That's what you have to do when you do sports media and everyone's packed into one hotel. So
hey, it's going to be.
Everyone's bunking up there. I'll tell you that.
Hey, look here. How about this? You know what this cup is? Master National Retriever Club. This is a big deal because I love hunting dogs. I'm drinking little Bailey's coffee here in the morning. That'll wake you up in the morning.
It'll get you going. I didn't
Brendan,
get my coffee.
That hat right there, is that a Stetson hat?
Yeah.
I knew it. Stetson. Okay.
Yeah, big Stetson box, big, beautiful. By the way, anyone's wanting, if you want to get a hat, they send it. They ship it so well. They have the customized box for the hat. They put the hat inside of it. It fits inside of it, and then it comes on top of it, and it fits perfect. They ship it anywhere. It's really cool.
It is really cool. They take great care. Big JM and Charles and Laura and Raven. I mean, Aaron.
In fact, Buddy was here. My father was here like a week ago. Like a couple days ago, and he said, I see you got your mother's hat out. And I said, what are you talking about? Mom said, Mom had a big 10-gallon Stetson hat that she wore. Of course, Mom passed, a year ago, and God bless her. But, it said, no, that's Mom's hat. I said, no, Dad, that's my hat. I said, would never fit, Mom. It's almost an 8. And she said, no, that's Mom's hat. I said, no, that's my hat. He didn't believe me. That's how I've always wanted a cowboy hat, but I never had a cowboy hat. So there you go. So that's behind the story, is that then Hewlett and Dunn and Rob felt that it was time for me to grow up and get my own cowboy hat. Hey,
it's a great hat. I mean, it's going to have to be.
The dog hair got on it a little bit, but I mean, everything's really lit up in here, so everything's worse. It's not lit for this, but you see.
Yeah. Hey, That is good looking.
But I got to get a wet cloth on it. I have a
white
dog.
Hey, you got a white dog, Sammy.
Yeah.
How many of y'all remember Billy Jack back in the 70s with Tom Laughlin, the actor?
Yeah.
The movie Billy Jack. He had that flat hat. You know, it was a rounded hat with the Navajo bands around it.
Yeah, yeah.
Audrey got her a hat like that.
I've always loved that.
Double bands on it out at Hewlett and Dunn, and it looks great. Love my dogs.
Always at my feet.
Sammy. Hey, Sammy. I'm going to tell you what. You cannot ever not like somebody wearing a cowboy hat, holding a dog, talking about college sports, man. Love it.
And he's so cute.
He is. And the other thing is that they do this, basically when you ship something, you better ship it right so it gets there in one piece.
I saved the box. I'll get it out tomorrow.
Yeah, I want to see that box. Let me say something about another one of our sponsors, the Vitamin Shop, Oxford, Mississippi, and Olive Branch, Mississippi. The vitamins and the supplements that they sell are legitimate. The people that work there are trained to get you in the right fit. You know, you can't turn on the TV without watching something about putting a pill in you. It's crazy. The Vitamin Shop is legit. I go there, I buy goo, I buy shot blocks. They've got probiotics, prebiotics. They've got it all. You know, the Vitamin Shop, check them out. Order from them wherever you are in our viewing audience, which is we're Memphis-based with a global reach, which is a great segue into another sponsor, Coolmore Logistics and Transportation. Anything you need shipped, lumber, steel coils, seed, cotton, bricks, anything that you've got to ship, check out that QR code. They have a fleet that the office for Coolmore Logistics and Transportation in Memphis looks like the trading floor of a hedge fund. They've got computers. Someone says, hey, we've got to move these products from Naples, Florida to Omaha, Nebraska, national championship hats for the Tennessee fans. They can, with a matter of minutes, they'll get the call, they'll post it, their phone blows up. They are Memphis-based with a global reach, Coolmore Logistics and Transportation. Okay, Brendan, Yancey Porter, I was hoping he's supposed to be with us here in just a minute. It's that time of the year, okay? It's summertime. A lot of people are on vacation. A lot of people are at the lake. A lot of people are watching this show. They watch us live or they watch us at their leisure, okay? And I tell you one thing, and I'm seeing some chatter here, about Kentucky. Think about this. Tennessee was the number 1 seed overall. Kentucky, number 2. Number 3, Texas A&M. And, nobody wants to hear this when you lose, but they've got so much to be proud of. I got a ton of respect for Jim Schlossnagle, and I do love the hat. I'm like Cat fan, love the hat. Cat fans, spread the word among your Kentucky brethren. But Kentucky, there's a lot of money at every school, but Mangione, the coach at Kentucky, has really woken up Kentucky. I saw T-shirts at the World Series. Kentucky is a baseball school. I mean, John Calipari and let's face it, Mark Stoops. That was good. That was good because it got people thinking.
It was good for the SEC. It was good for Kentucky. Look, we always glad when Kentucky does something good. So
look, basketball. They're so good in basketball. I think you can get bored, but they're going to do a reset with Mark Pope. I don't know how they're going to do with the new coach, but Cal staying 15 years, it was like in a marriage that was over 5 years ago. You stuck around for the kids, and all they ever do is see you push each other away. It was time for him to go on. Best of luck to him at Arkansas. But Kentucky, the SEC, this is now, okay, think about it. There have been 4 schools in history, and 4 schools in history and that have won the regular season SEC baseball championship, the SEC tournament in Hoover, and the Men's College World Series. That was the 1993 LSU team, 2009 LSU. 93 was, of course, with Skip Burtman. 09 was with Paul Maneri. 2019, Vanderbilt did it with Kamara Rocker and the crew, Tim Corbin, and 2024, Tennessee. Not since 1989 had a baseball team won 60 games in a season, back when they had an 84-game schedule. They limited it to, like, I think 56 regular season games back in 92. So Tennessee becomes one of only 3 or 4 ever in men's college baseball to win 60 games. They are the first ever in the SEC to hit the 60-game plateau. But that is now 2019, 2020, because of the virus crap. We didn't have a Omaha. I mean, that sucks, but we didn't. And 2021, it was Mississippi State. 2022, Ole Miss. 2023, LSU. 2024, Tennessee. They can try to reconfigure the brackets, the regionals, the super regionals, all they want. You can run, you can lie, but you cannot hide from SEC dominance. I mean, that was powerful stuff, Brendan.
It was.
I mean, that was.
I watched it, but you have to. I'm not a baseball fan, but I'd rather watch that product than watching MLB. But that's just me. I thought it was fun to watch, and now we go into this real slow sports time of the year. So it's good to kind of get it in as we kind of get into our summer months, and we'll be watching pickleball tournaments.
Well, here's one thing, and this time of year, what I'm doing with a lot of folks is just kind of taking it easy, because we're wrapping up baseball today. We're going to be talking, baseball, football, basketball, always. But the media days, July 15th through the 18th, that's what you call the unofficial start, kind of like Memorial Day is the unofficial start of summer, although we know that the officially June 21st is the first day of summer. Football season is never over. And I'll tell you something interesting, where NIL is starting to change things. University of Memphis has now received a commitment from the number 3 overall high school quarterback in America, kid out of Warner Robins, Georgia. And the picture of him on his commitment, it was Memphis or Florida. Now, why didn't he go to Florida? Well, there's a guy named DJ Lagway there. That might have something to do with it. But the picture, there's like 6 FedEx packages around him while he's sitting in a chair. Frederick W. Smith, the founder and the CEO, he's stepped down, but he's still there. When he speaks, the trading floor comes to a halt, okay? Fred Smith and FedEx have made a huge commitment for NIL to the University of Memphis. I'm going to tell you right now, there's so much happening in the college football world, Brendan. You try to put your arms around it and say, well, what do we got? Which way do we go? But I'll tell you what's happening. As we get closer to the games, don't get frustrated. NIL, everybody's getting paid, but only a few people, a very small number, are getting big money. Well, most of the kids they swap, eating sandwiches, or they might get a car to drive.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I don't think the average fan cares. I don't think I just don't think they care enough to know. All they want to know is on Saturdays they're going to be a party at so-and-so's house, and we're going to have a couple of beers. We're going to go pull for the Gators, or whatever it is. Whatever your team is.
You pick your team.
Don't screw up my Saturday.
Yeah.
That's basically it. And then I don't think the average fans really care. Just, is the product going to be on the field? Do I have something to talk about? Whatever. That's it. I think a lot of it, now to the purists and people like us, we know that it's radically morphing the game that we love and know so well. We get, because, and I think maybe it goes a little deeper than just the average fan, because you've got a la Nick Saban coming out saying in 5 to 10 years, everything that we know and love about the sport will be gone. I think he's sounding the alarm. Do I think that's true? No, I don't. I don't think you just take out something that has this kind of, we're talking about football, but we're talking about sports or college sports. It has this kind of history. I don't think it's switched and changed easily. And I think that process takes a long time. And as we've seen, it's not like either the NCAA or all the powers and beings involved in the TV and money involved really care about anything other than just making a bunch more of it. So like not having a decision and keeping things in limbo, it plays to, their advantage because they can control that narrative a little bit more and really do what they want to do, which is always driven by revenue, TV, all the things that we do here. Just like we saw when the ESPN got involved in this stuff with TV rights and all that. Yeah. So I think we're just, we're seeing it. And like you said, always, the market's going to reset itself, have faith in the fact that, we have a system that works. I just don't think that in that said market, there is space for two pro NFL markets. I think that, and that's what we're creating, or I don't say we, that's what's being creative ultimately, is just another NFL market or a minor league or whatever the hell you want to call it, because it's going to be built exactly the same way in the end.
Well, I can't tell you exactly how it's going to end out, but it's going to work out. And I'm glad Nick Saban's saying what he's saying. Okay? Someone with his credibility saying what we know and love is in 5 or 10 years, because we're hearing that, the market will just people will do this. Mm-hmm. You've got to, faith is, what worry is? It's the absence of faith. It'll work out. I'm telling you, it matters to fans. Yancey Porter is in here with us right now. I was like, Yancey, fortunately for you, we got a late start today because we had a pterodactyl bite the cable line down in Florida. Yes. And
it was a condor.
And I wanted you to see my Ole Miss. Yeah, I wanted you to see my Ole Miss shirt that I'm wearing today that I got at Hewlett and Dunn. It's got red and blue Mississippi's all over it. It's a red, white, and blue shirt. Good looking shirt, Yancey. But someone says, what are the chances University of Memphis could end up in the SEC, or what conference will they end up? I think Big 12. I don't know about the SEC, but the leverage that University of Memphis has, they've got a president. My friend, Dr. Bill Hardgrave, and I had him on the show a couple of weeks ago, and I went to lunch with him the next day. He's been around at Arkansas, at Auburn, FedEx. Who knows? Some city, could be Oklahoma City, could get a FedEx hub. Memphis has got a lot of leverage. There's 6 billionaire families in Memphis. There's some money there. There's a lot of money in Memphis. It's the largest small town in America. We'll see what happens, but NIL is changing things. Yancey, man, look, we're 67 days away, and if anybody is keeping track, 68 days, that's 1,608 hours away from the start of college football season. What are the chances that this morning at breakfast at the Beacon in Oxford, Mississippi, and or at Byron's Smokehouse over on Opelika Highway in Auburn, when everybody's getting a meat and 16 sides, that college football is on people's mind? We've been talking with Vince Ferrara of Tennessee about the Vols winning it all last night. SEC dominance is alive and well. Got some Kentucky fans weighing in here right now. Let's zero in on Oxford. By the way, Yancey and Brendan, I watch a lot of shows and listen to a lot of shows around the SEC footprint and around the country. KREF Radio in Oklahoma City, Norman. Y'all ought to see what they've got in store June 30th and July 1st in Norman. They're having 5Ks. They're having food trucks, parties, bands. July 1st, everybody's going to get into Gaylord Family Stadium in Norman, Oklahoma, and they're going to try to fill it up with people celebrating officially being a member of the SEC. And Paul Feinbaum will be broadcasting his show there live July 1st. And the next day, they're going to be broadcasting live from Austin, Texas. So other than that, there's nothing going on. Yancey Porter, Rebel Yell Hotline.
Yeah, it'll be a big day for both Texas and Oklahoma. I mean, as you see, just the baseball, softball, football, ladies basketball. It's even men's basketball. It's the premier conference in pretty much every sport, track and field.
Yeah.
If I leaving anything out,
Bowling. Don't
it's
forget about
unbelievable.
Vanderbilt women bowling.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know about bowling, tennis,
Great athletes,
golf.
by the way.
Didn't Auburn win it this year? Golf.
Yeah, the men won it in golf, and they came within a point of winning it in track and field. But the Florida Gators and Mouse Holloway won his 14th track and field national championship. So, it's competition is the spice of life, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's just unbelievable how dominant the conference is in just about every single sport. It's unbelievable.
It is. And Yancey, I mean, God almighty, I can't go anywhere in the Mid-South without running into Ole Miss fans, and they're really excited. And there's always going to be these cynics out there, the detractors. Lane Kiffin this and that. Look, Lane Kiffin is evolving and maturing before our eyes. Rebel Yell Hotline, Monday nights, 6 o'clock, Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and Super Talk Mississippi. Y'all, you and Chuck Roundsville, Gary Darby, Harry Harrison, Gordon Ford, there's no widespread panic among y'all. I think Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, I don't know what his degree's in, psychology, reading the room, or what. But I think the Rebels want this kind of attention. They've got to embrace it if they want to get on top of the college football world. Talk about what's going on down there this summer and the new guys that have showed up for the summer workouts, what you're hearing.
Really, right now, health-wise, everybody but Princely, the defensive end they picked up from Florida, is pretty much good to go. Logan Diggs obviously will not return until about November, hopefully in November. The transfer from LSU, the running back, and health-wise, they're pretty good. Everybody's healed up nicely right now. Deion Smith is still trying to clear the academic hurdle. It seems like that's been going on for about 2 years, but he still's not reported. Supposedly he's going to be arriving any day, hopefully before the 4th of July. And that's the only player, academic wise, that is waiting to get cleared. So,
wait a minute,
health wise,
somebody might not be eligible. Brendan, did you hear that?
Stop it.
I know it's
no
blasphemy.
What?
Blasphemy. Remove
That's
that from the
not true.
content of the show.
Have that removed.
Well,
Carry on, my friend.
It used to be you would have about 10 to 12 players out of a class that would be fighting for eligibility, but those days seem to be long gone. But yeah, Dion, he did not withdraw when he I guess quit LSU or stopped playing for LSU, whatever you want to call it. He did not withdraw for those classes, so unfortunately for him, he had to get a junior college degree and make up those classes that he took there at LSU. So it's been a lot of academic hurdles for him to get eligible, but hopefully he'll be in town in the next week or two.
Tell me this: you talked about Logan Diggs, his injury. How's he progressing?
He's ahead of schedule. I'm hearing that November they were kind of iffy if he was going to return in November, and cautiously optimistic is the way that it's being told to me that he'll be ready to go, somewhere around November.
All right. So the running back room versus the receiver room at Ole Miss. What's deeper this year?
Well, I would say with proven Power Five experience, I'd say the receiver room. I think you got three running backs that are, been very successful at that high level. But at receiver, you got six guys that can absolutely go get the ball. I think the receiver room, and really, in the past they've leaned on the run game a little bit more than the passing game. But I think it'll kind of be the opposite this year.
Well, I look and I think about the number of second-round draft choices that have been brought out. Like DK Metcalf is one you talked about. Who was if he had a hangnail, he may not play. His father, we all remember, Terrence Metcalf, signed with Tommy Tuberville out of Clarksdale, Mississippi, down there in Coahoma County. But I think DK is with, he's with the Colts. Who is he with now?
Seattle.
Okay.
Yep.
As physically, he was one of the most impressive guys. He's a workout freak, wasn't he?
Yeah. And it's, all the games he missed at Ole Miss, I think he missed maybe 2 games in his career at Seattle. So he's been just the opposite. You can count on him on Sundays.
All right, I'm going to start opening up. We're going to have to get us a sponsor for the question line, because I get a lot of texts and I get a lot on here. I love that Dr. David Arnoff down in Panama City, great doctor, surgeon in Bay County at the hospital. He's got a question for you, Yancey. You ready for this one?
Let's go.
Drum roll, please. If Lane Kiffin loses 3 or more, what's his future then? Does he have to win the SEC or the Natty to be considered successful? Question 4, Yancey Porter. Fancy Yancey Porter.
If he loses 3 or more games, it'll be a highly disappointing season, but it's not like Ole Miss is going to fire him.
No, I didn't say, no one thought that.
If they go 9-3 this year and end up 10-3, look, I mean, it's playoff or bust. But nobody's job is on the line. Lane's proved this metal. Ole Miss fans, they are pretty rational in the large part. They don't. You don't see like other schools where you have a disappointing season and you get fired. It's more of a trend, and everybody knows that Lane's a premier coach, and his boat's safe in Oxford no matter what.
Yeah, and I think, okay, Yancey, let's kind of get over this. Again, he likes to go fishing. Good for him. You've got to clear your head. You cannot go balls to the walls, 110%. all the time. You got to pull back sometime. I had a guy that my first wife, she hired to help me with work, because a personal trainer for triathlons. He said, you got to slow down to get faster. And I said, what are you talking about? He goes, see, that's your problem. You got to listen to me. And he was a little wiry guy, looked like Barney Fife, wasn't even that tall, but he was so right. Well, Lane Kiffin, when he goes down there, tarpon fishing or bill fishing, or goes for the Grand Slam, catches a Jack Crevalle, whatever he's doing, I think that's what makes him tick, doesn't it?
Yeah, you got to get away. Just like you say, you got to recharge your batteries. I'm sure Lane is down there right now as we speak. This is the dead period. Everybody, all the coaches around the country have got these 4 weeks to kind of get everything back in order, and I expect nothing less than him to be putting out some pictures shortly on Twitter of him and deep sea fish down there in Florida.
All right, now let's talk about on the defensive side. You got 12 defensive linemen that you think Ole Miss coaches feel like they can trust.
Yeah.
In the top half of the SEC, that's what you see. 10 to 14 that you can trust on the defensive front. I'm talking front 7. Let's talk about the linebackers and the defensive backs, because without a pass rush, your secondary is in panic mode.
Yeah, they felt like that they got one of the better linebackers in the portal. Obviously there with Pooh and at Arkansas, all SEC linebacker there. You bring back some Taryn Perkins that had a really successful freshman campaign there at linebacker. You got guys that you feel like that have won at the highest level and have been very successful at the highest level there at SEC that they've collected there at linebacker. They feel like that they're really too deep with guys that can win really, really big there. Linebacker's been a problem at Ole Miss, it seems like, for a decade as far as depth-wise, but they feel like they've got some depth there at linebacker this year.
And the SEC, looking at the rankings, and I've been asking people, yesterday on the show had Ben Troop, Franz Beard, we talked with Bo Carter. I asked each one of them, I said, right now, at this moment, I love to do this. Give me your top 4 teams in the SEC. And it was pretty much a consensus: Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, and then some had, I think, Tennessee. Others had, I think, another pick. Missouri wasn't in there, but Georgia, Texas, and Ole Miss are consensus in people's top three. Last year, and Ole Miss has a really good history in college football. I mean, Johnny Vaught, one of the more forgotten and underrated coaches in American college football history. 196 wins, 6 Southeastern Conference championships, 3 national championships. A little bit of trivia here, and I guarantee you Yancey knows it, but where did he play his college football?
Oh, gosh, are you going to do this to me? TCU?
Yeah, you got it.
Yes,
you're correct, sir. But Johnny Vaught, there was a cool story back in 96 or 97 in the Huntsville Times. Remember the front page of the sports section. Maybe John Pruitt or Philip Marshall wrote this article. There's a picture of Johnny Vaught at practice with Tommy Tuberville. Johnny Vaught brought the Bill Walsh-style West Coast offense to the SEC. When you start reeling off the great quarterbacks, that he had, from Jake Gibbs to Archie Manning, from 47 to 72, and then he came back, in 73 when Bruiser Kennard couldn't get her done. But this Ole Miss is always one of these programs, like the bonfire from the night before. You get up the next morning, you blow on the coals, put a little kindling on there. Are they going to sell out all their season tickets this year? If not, I know they will.
Yes, it's been sold out. Season sold out. Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing 60,000 plus in Vaught Hemingway Stadium, 50,000 tailgate. You think there may be games where there's more people in a packed Vaught Hemingway at 60,000 plus. Keep in mind, folks, the state of Mississippi has about 2.8 million people. That's pretty damn impressive. Arkansas is about 2.75. But you think there may be some games, though, when they'll pack the vault and there's even more people tailgating outside the stadium, all the way out on Highway 6, all the way up Highway 7 to the Betty Davis grocery where they're getting some good ribs and drinking some cold Hams beer?
I mean, I'd be surprised if they're not. They're usually that way, and half the games this year, unfortunately, are not very exciting. When you're playing the Furmans in Middle Tennessee States,
yes,
I don't know. I can't even remember them all. It's a snoozer for a lot of these games. I'm not going to lie. So yeah, there'll probably be twice as many fans in the Grove and the Circle and around the vault as there are in the stadium. But the stadium will be packed out. But there's going to be a lot of people coming in from everywhere. There'll be 67,000 in the stadium and probably about 75 in the Grove during these games. It's going to be it's going to be wild for sure. I just hope that it cools down. At least it's getting hot early.
Yeah.
Usually when you have a cool June, that means it's the heat's bad through October. So hopefully this heat will get out of here through September.
Well, as Henry B. always said growing up in our house, it ain't the doing in life that's so bad, Rob Jr. It's the dreading. We'll get through it. My son, I get a text from him Friday night with him and Bill and Griffin Walden, the Memphis crew. And I was like, oh, my God. He is out in Red Rocks, Colorado for the Widespread Panic Show over the weekend. I sent Yancey a picture of what they call the Memphis group. It was Wilson and about 15 or 20 of his Memphis friends. They all met out there for the Panic. My friend Bobby Farrell, I love this guy. Ole Miss, oh my God, he's a rebel. Walked on, played a couple of years when Steve Sloan was there. Is the Widespread Panic the new Grateful Dead in terms of having a following that just goes to shows all over the planet? And are they your favorite band?
It's I would put it on a smaller scale. Let's say that. It's a smaller scale, but yeah, it's that's what everybody grew up listening to in my generation. I went to school from 90 to 95, and
Oh
You
God,
know,
that's
you knew.
panic. That's the perfect time. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Beanland was really big, and JoJo went over there to Panic, and he still
yeah,
plays with them. And George McConnell was over there after Mikey passed away. So,
yeah.
Panic in the Oxford area and Ole Miss fan base is absolutely huge.
Yeah, and they really are. And Ain't Life Grand? I mean, they've got some great songs. And I don't know. Bob made me multiple CDs, and this is like the Grateful Dead. I don't know them all, but I get pretty. I'm drinking a little Bailey's coffee this morning. How to wake you up in the morning? Arrgh! But when I'm traveling, I like that Grateful Dead channel. There's Row Jimmy Row. There's Ripple. There's Tennessee Jed. There are a lot of really good songs. And I recommend when you go to the beach, instead of listening to all this stuff that, stomping on baby chickens and biting their heads off, just some of this crap that you hear, you're like, man, I could fart in a bucket and sound better than that. Listen to a little Grateful Dead. It'll calm you down. I mean, I don't know if Dr. Onoff ever listens to the Grateful Dead before he goes to work, but Yancey, I'm surprised we don't hear more Panic played between plays at the stadium in Oxford, because I always remember hearing about JoJo was the drummer or the bass player, because Bobby Farrell knew him quite well. But
JoJo is the keyboardist.
Keyboardist. Okay.
One of the
one,
best
strike
alive.
two. You're out.
Hey, I'm all for it. I wish they would, but these kids today, they like all that.
They love the Panic.
No, well, these kids today, they love hip hop. I mean, they got the hip hop going, some DJ in the stands. I mean,
Yeah, they do.
As my kids call me an old head, but I think it's, I won't say the word for it, but whatever makes them happy and whatever makes them have fun, just do it.
Well, I will say this. My boys that are 24 and 25, they do love the Panic. And there's not many band. They'll go to Austin, they'll go to Chicago, they'll go anywhere to hear them. They love them. I mean, I'm sure he took the Greyhound bus. But anyway, work hard, do what you want.
Play hard.
Yeah, that's right. Work hard, play hard. All right, let's talk a few more minutes before we go. Looking at Media Days coming up, July 15th to the 18th. Is Chuck Rounsville, the Ole Miss Spirit, is he going to be out there in Dallas?
No.
Okay.
No. There'll be a couple people from the Ole Miss Spirit there, but it won't be Chuck. I promise you that.
Here's a question I have. David Cross, you know him, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. And I see them doing their show out there. I met their producer last year that does the show on Super Talk Mississippi. Someone yesterday I was talking to, and Rodney Orr is off today. We're taking a few days off. We're just kind of pacing ourselves before July 15th gets here, which you've got to do. But, the discussion was like, I'm surprised the SEC went to Texas so fast. Is Texas, Oklahoma too, but really is Texas going to try to suck all the oxygen up out of the room? And if they do, are they going to find out, hold on a second there, partner. Hold on a second. You get up, you got a couple of games a year when you got to get up. But now you're playing Oklahoma, that type of intensity every Saturday. Or as they say down in the Delta, air Saturday.
Yeah, of course Texas is going to try to soak up all the air, every single bit of it. But are they going to? No. I'm really, really curious to see what happens with their transition. I know they played well against Alabama last year. Last 2 years they played well, and they got it in them. But can they bring that physicality week in, week out? 12 games out of the year, and then up to five more after the season. I don't think they can. Bo Davis left. That's the heart and soul of that physicality, the one that really brought that SEC mentality there. Their top four defensive linemen. I think they're going to have a really good offense. I think they're going to kind of be like Ole Miss under the first couple years under Kiffin. I think they're going to look real. They're going to be real fun to watch. I think they're going to put up a lot of points. But defensively, are they going to be able to play at that level, consistent enough to win championships? My guess is no. Will they get that way coming up in the future? Who knows? But yes, they will try to suck up all the oxygen. Will they suck it up though? No.
Yeah, and I tell you, I got a ton of respect for Texas and Oklahoma. We all do. We've been watching them all of our lives. But again, Houston Nutt was on the show with us back in the middle of May. Made a great point. He goes, it's the grind. He goes, you're talking about the Red River Shootout in Dallas. The Cotton Bowl there at the Texas State Fair. Big Texas there, the 70-foot cow. Howdy, folks. Welcome to the Texas State Fair. Well, it goes back to having to do it a couple of 2 or 3 times a year versus having to do it every Saturday. Why are the United States military the best in the world? But one, they're fighting for freedom. They're fighting for one another. They deserve the highest respect, but they train hard to be hard. And I'm not saying Texas is going to lose 7 games, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lost 3 games this year because
I think 10-3 is very, very that's kind of what I predict them. I don't expect them to go 8-4. I expect them to win 9-10 games overall. I expect them to be a top 20 team. You just got to remember too, everybody's going to be excited to play Texas. They really are. I mean, Ole Miss has played them a few times, in the last 10, 15 years. So that newness wouldn't be there for an Ole Miss, but Alabama's played them. But for the most part, most of the SEC has not played Texas, and it's a big deal. I mean, Alabama's had to learn that during the Saban, where everybody's excited to play you, and I think everybody's going to be ready to play Texas.
Yeah, and we'll wrap it up with this. When you look at the stats, all time, Oklahoma and Texas, the 2 schools have winning records against almost everybody in the SEC, respectively. But again, those are the occasional, rendezvous, okay? But they're not week in and week out. We're going to have a lot of fun with this Texas and Oklahoma. Ole Miss on fire right now. Get out right now. Season tickets are sold out. I don't care who you're a fan of. Once we get the games cranked up and practice started, all this other stuff goes out the window. Hey, everybody, tune in tomorrow. Catch Yancey Porter, Rebel Yell Hotline. Always Monday night, 6 o'clock, Sports 56 WHBQ. Thanks for watching. Tell your friends, family, and neighbors. We live in the greatest country in the history of the world. We are blessed to have people like Yancey Porter, Vince Ferrara. We'll be back tomorrow. Going to be a great one. Thanks.
In a perfect world, you'd set a health goal and results would happen overnight. In this world, the real world, it takes time, dedication, and the right support to achieve your best self. The Vitamin Shop's health enthusiasts are here to make sure you're not wasting a single moment on the wrong supplements. From the highest quality sports nutrition and superfoods to the most sought-after trends, you'll find a huge variety of science-backed solutions for every goal. And the people to help guide you along the path to greatness.
Unbelievably, every 2 minutes in our communities, a child is either bought or sold for sex. I am Ari Dickey, board member for the Nashville Anti-Human Trafficking Coalition. Join me and millions of others in our fight against human trafficking and for its victims by helping to educate the most vulnerable among us, our middle and high school students. Go to nhtcoalition.org, become a partner, and help keep our families safe, because none of God's children are for sale.